And I believe that the work that I do representing individuals is a perfect mesh to what the Spirit wants.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much for joining with us today. And we have a movie star in our midst who we'll recognize shortly. But again, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for spending time with the New Jersey Reentry Corporation, but particularly today focusing upon the importance of Espiritu Latino, which serves those members in the community. And we start all things in New Jersey Reentry in prayer. And I'd like to call upon Reverend Bolivar Flores to lead us in prayer, to beseech the blessings of Almighty God, to purify our minds and our hearts and souls as we begin this day. Reverend?
And we be prayed in the evangelical language, Spanish. Let's pray in Spanish, right? Amantísimo Dios, gracias. Gracias por la New Jersey Espiritu Corporation, gracias por Espiritu Latino, gracias por este gran líder, el gobernador Fayimir, y gracias por cada uno de los colaboradores que hacen este programa posible para romper las barreras, las cadenas que nuestra comunidad latinoamericana sufre a través de la falta de recursos sociales o oportunidades de representación legal. Gracias, Señor, en esta tarde, en este día, por darnos esta oportunidad de una vez más ser la voz de aquellos que no tienen voz, en el nombre de Jesús. Amén.
So thank you very much, everyone. I'm really grateful. So I first want to say thank you to Reverend Flores for his dedication and commitment. See, how old is she? 4? She's clapping for Reverend. But I also like to thank, in a special way, Congressman Robert Menendez Jr., who's been a dear friend and supportive of Espiritu Latino. And we also have some great friends that have done great work. So if I can back up, when I vacationed to be at Catholic Charities at Rio Grande with Sister Norma Pimento, who I always genuflect when I mention Sister's name. According to Pope Francis, she is the Pope's favorite nun. So I figured if she's good enough to be Pope Francis's favorite nun, she can be mine. But Sister Norma was at the border in McAllen, Texas. And we saw people that were coming largely from Central America, tragically having to work with the narco-traffickers to travel from largely Honduras, from El Salvador, and to cross across the Rio Grande into the United States. And Sister Norma helped people. She fed them, she cleaned them, she provided medicine for them. And in fact, the wellness center that we have upstairs is based on a model of wellness that some of the nuns developed in McAllen, Texas, across from Reynosa. And so what we began to understand in terms of the purpose of Espiritu Latino or the Latino spirit, or for many of us, the Holy Spirit, is the need to take care of our brothers and sisters as they travel this journey. And our first speaker is somebody who embodies that. And Ileana is a friend of mine for many years. But when you have lawyers who give of themselves regularly for the sake of the community, that's dedication. And so I'd first like to call upon somebody who's very, very special to us. Not only because of the work Ileana does, but not only her commitment to the community, but also because of the demonstrated proven accomplishments. And with that, I'd like to call upon my dear friend, Ileana Montez.
Thank you so much, Governor. Thank you for the New Jersey Reentry Corporation and the Espiritu Latino for this great opportunity and for the invitation. The governor and I go back many, many years. I was privileged to have been the first Latina appointed to serve as a director of the Division of Women when he was the governor. So I learned a lot from him, and we have a very, very long history.
Can I just say one thing? So I shouldn't say this is politically incorrect. So during the campaign, there was Latinas from McGreevy, and then there was Latinos from McGreevy. All I can say is the Latinos worked a lot harder. But
in any event, like the governor mentioned, I'm an attorney. I have been practicing for about 25 years, and I concentrate my practice mostly in immigration. And the reason why I do that is I'm an immigrant myself. I was born and raised in Colombia, and I moved to the United States when I was 17. I had no idea at that time that I was going to become an attorney. I was studying psychology, but all of a sudden, a lot of my professors told me, you know what, I think that you have the advocacy, the emotional heart inside of you to advocate for other people, and that you will become a great attorney. And, you know, things change. In any event, I am the deputy director for a nonprofit organization. The name is IACO, Immigration and American Citizenship Organization. We have been serving the community, the immigrant community, for a very, very long time. And in addition to providing legal services, you know, preparing the petitions for people to be able to adjust their status and become residents of the United States, we help the immigrant community be included, be prepared to obtain a good job, to be able to live a better life, because after all, that is the reason why immigrants move to the United States, to fulfill that American dream. So with that in mind, we partner with Espiritu Latino. We partner with New Jersey Reentry Corporation to come together and be able to provide the best services that we can to the community. It is very important to work together because the resources, as we all know, are limited. The demand is a lot bigger, and we need to cooperate with one another to be able to give the hand that the community needs. It is a great honor to have Congressman Menendez here, because obviously he is a voice that we need in Congress and that we need in Washington. New Jersey is one of the most diverse states, and we are very proud of that. But because of that, we need more collaboration. So thank you so much. I will be standing around if anybody has any particular questions.
So I just want everybody to understand the role of lawyers. So lawyers are very important. So Ileana, could you share with us some of the challenges, like when parents are concerned, for example, when parents are concerned about custody issues, and God forbid they are taken into custody, what happens to their children, and why is this important?
Absolutely, and that is a very important topic, because as
so this is so important. I just can't emphasize how important this is. This impacts every family, and New Jersey Reentry does this regularly to make sure that families designate someone.
Absolutely, yes. For the immigrant community, one of the biggest fears is that at one point or another, ICE or immigration detains a person. And obviously, what could be more important than the children's safety? So, I mean, hopefully it will not happen, but the community should be prepared and should have a plan in action just in case that unfortunate situation will arrive. The most important thing is to identify who will be the best person fit to take care of your children if a person gets detained. So you can give a power of attorney to somebody that you can trust, that you can, with your eyes closed, you can say, my child is going to be safe with that person. Now, with a power of attorney, it doesn't have to be an attorney. It doesn't have to be a relative. It doesn't have to be, your employer. It could be anybody that you can trust. It could be your friend. It could actually be a person who is not documented in the United States. People have the misconception that if the person gets detained by immigration, the children are going to be taken away by the state, and that is not true. The only time that the state gets involved is if there is a neglect of the child, if there is abuse, if there is anything of concern for the well-being of the child. If immigration detains somebody, it's actually very burdensome for the state to have to take care of children that are otherwise very healthy and very.
So, Ileana, so I just want everybody to be clear. If someone is taken into custody and there's no designation for the child will become a ward of the state. Is that correct?
Not necessarily, Governor. Most likely, the immigration will take a look into the family to see who they can give the child to. However, what is important is that it should not be immigration who determines who the child is going to go to. It should be the person, the parent, who makes that determination ahead of time. Like I was trying to explain before, the state will not necessarily take the children into foster care because there is no allegation of neglect. But if there is no choice, if there is nobody else that they can identify that can take care of the children, then they will have to resort to that. So again, the most important thing is for people to identify who will be the best person to take care of the children and to notify them. Look, if something happens to me, I have this piece of paper, the power of attorney, that will give you the authority to go to pick up my children from school, to go and take them to the doctor, to go and do whatever the routine of the child has, so that the child will not be interrupted from their day-to-day activity. This is so important because emotionally, for the children, it's very impactful to come one day and not to find his father or mother or both. And then if in addition to that, they have to interrupt their day-to-day activity, is going to have a really negative effect on that. So to the extent possible, that is one way that the parents can prevent more trauma to the children.
And Ileana, could you explain what the form says? So there's a form that New Jersey Reentry has worked with different law firms to develop, and we'll make that form, Reverend, we'll make that form available on our website in Spanish and in English. So could you explain what that form is and what it does? So this is important. What Ileana said is not only is she a wonderful attorney and dedicated, but she's incredibly competent and proficient and able. So what the form does, it removes any ambiguity. So there is no doubt where you want your child to go. I want my child to go to my sister. I want my child to go to my mother. It's clearly a designation. Or else, as Ileana says, You're allowing the state to have a role in the decision-making process, which some would argue, if there's no guidance, it's perhaps inevitable. But it's far better to have you designate this person. And we'll have a form in Spanish and in English on the site, but it's so important what the form does. Could you explain what the form does, Eliana?
Yeah, basically the form gives the authority to the person that you designate to have temporary custody of the child. And temporary custody means that you will be able, again, to go and pick them up from school, to the doctor, to do whatever it is necessary. Now, without that form, there will be problems for a third person to, do whatever it is necessary for the children, because there is no way to prove that that has been the intention, the voluntary intention of the parent. So thank God, the Reentry Corporation is proactive. They have these forms available, and again, it's just to prevent that something major will happen.
And I just want to emphasize that when you fill out this form, you are not turning custody of your children over to another person. It's a temporary relationship that the court respects. Could you just underscore that? So when we had our last reentry conference at St. Anthony's Church in Union City, we had a stack of forms that were literally 600. And every single form was gone, and parents were making very difficult conversations. But what we want to emphasize, parents said, well, if I designate my sister, if I designate Ileana, does this mean that I'm surrendering custody of my child to Ileana on a permanent basis? Could you explain that?
Absolutely not. The form is very specific. The person, you can actually put in the form what the condition is. The condition is, if I get detained by ICE, while I am detained, the person will have temporary custody. You cannot give the custody away, by the way, with just a simple form. A custody determination, a permanent custody determination, will have to go through the court system, and there has to be a formal application, a formal hearing, because at that time, a judge will have to determine what is the best interest of the child before they can transfer the custody from a parent to a third person. So one thing does not need to be confused with the other. This one is very specific for only situations where the parent will not have control and will not be able to exercise that custody.
And so does anybody have any questions for Ileana? Because in terms of New Jersey reentry, this is singularly the greatest question and the greatest quandary, because the persons with whom we work with are persons who have status questions and court involvement. So it becomes particularly painful if they are, because of status, or they contain, and they don't designate their child to a loved one. Does anybody have any questions at all as to this legal issue of designating another person for their children? Any questions?
I want to emphasize something that is very important, because people are very afraid of leaving temporary custody to another person who is undocumented. Just because you leave the temporary custody of your child to a person who is undocumented, you're not putting the legal status or undocumented status of that person in jeopardy. Immigration will recognize that that's the person who's going to have the custody, but they will not have the jurisdiction or the authority to question the person's legal status. So at that point, what you have to consider is that the best interest of your child is actually more important and should not be a detriment when considering leaving a person that you can trust. It does not need to be a person that is documented.
And could you say that if you leave your child with somebody who is not documented, it doesn't jeopardize your child and it doesn't jeopardize the other person?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So that people had difficulty, people were concerned if they wanted to leave their child with their brother or their sister, and they also had questions of status. It's irrelevant, because they have questions of status, they will not be jeopardized because you're referring your son or daughter to that person in the case of a custody.
Correct, yes.
And the last issue is, for Espiritu Latino, does the allocation of the child to another person, does that affect any financial arrangement, or can a person be able to secure benefits for that child despite the fact that they are now under the custody of another person?
You're talking about the parent or the person who's getting the temporary custody?
The person who's getting the temporary custody.
Can they get financial?
Or can that child still get health benefits and?
Oh yes, it does not affect.
This is important.
If the child is getting any type of benefit, Medicaid or any other assistance, financial assistance, the fact that the child is now transferred to another relative, it does not affect the financial support that the child is getting. Now remember, this is a temporary situation. ICE, for the most part, when they detain a person who is already in the United States, will only arrest the person temporarily unless the person has a criminal charge that is pending and the judge determines that there is no bond because that person may be, a jeopardy to the public safety. But if that charge is not there, if there is no criminal record, most likely the person will be detained temporarily. Now, temporarily may be a week, a month, but eventually, in a short term, that person is going to be released.
Now, could you say everything you just said in Spanish?
Sí, claro. Okay.
No, from the beginning.
Oh, really? From the beginning. Okay, that's fine, yes. Okay, es muy importante lo que estamos hablando porque realmente la agencia de la recorporación para entrar a la comunidad y el espíritu latino ayuda mucho a la comunidad latina. El gobernador hizo varias preguntas, sobre todo relacionada a qué pasa cuando una persona indocumentada es arrestada y tiene hijos pequeños. Entonces, afortunadamente la comunidad migrante y la comunidad indocumentada se puede preparar antes de tiempo por si acaso llega a pasar ese escenario. Hay un documento, un formato que lo tiene el Espíritu Latino, tanto en inglés como en español, donde las personas pueden asignar a un familiar, a un amigo, a una persona que ellos tengan confianza y que puedan decir, si me llega a coger inmigración, yo quiero que mi hijo esté seguro con la persona designada. Ahora, eso no quiere decir que al llenar ese formulario, ustedes le estén dando la custodia permanente a esa persona. Esa custodia es una cuestión totalmente temporal mientras que la persona está detenida por inmigración. Ustedes pueden poner específicamente cuáles son las instrucciones, cuáles son las condiciones y cuándo va a aplicar eso. Pero lo más importante es que en la eventualidad negativa que eso pase, que el niño esté seguro, que sus hijos estén seguros y que ustedes, fuera de que Dios no lo quiera, tienen toda la preocupación de estar detenidos, pues que por lo menos tengan la tranquilidad de que su hijo va a estar bien. Otra cosa que preguntó el gobernador es si el hijo está recibiendo alguna ayuda financiera al transferir esa custodia temporal, si la ayuda financiera se paraliza o para. Entonces, la respuesta es no. ¿Por qué? Porque la custodia es una cosa completamente temporal. Cuando una persona ya está en territorio americano, o sea, dentro de los Estados Unidos, e inmigración detiene a esa persona, usualmente y en la gran mayoría de las veces lo detiene es porque la persona tiene un cargo criminal. Si la persona tiene un cargo criminal agravado, o si el juez considera de que la persona es un peligro para la sociedad, entonces el juez le va a negar la fianza. Y en ese caso, pues la detención va a ser mucho más larga. Pero si es simplemente por inmigración y no hay cargos criminales, no hay una orden de deportación anterior, usualmente las detenciones de ICE son cortas. Puede ser una semana, puede ser un mes, pero de todas maneras son periodos cortos y lógicamente cuando la persona salga del centro de detención, pues va a obtener la custodia de su hijo, como siempre la ha tenido. I think I already summarized everything, Governor.
Thank you. Does anybody have any further questions? So I just wanted to say thank you to Ileana. I would ask also Alex if you could just please stand up to be recognized. Alex is another one of our pro bono attorneys.
Sure. So my name is Ileana Montes, and I work for IACO, Immigration and American Citizenship Organization. Espiritu Latino has all the information where we're located. We're located in Patterson. But if anybody wants to have a consultation or if anybody has a question, I will be here for a little while. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have a round of applause for Ileana? Let me just say, Ileana, we doubled her salary this year from last year. So that's 0 times 0 is 0. So can we have one more round of applause for this great woman? Ileana is one of my personal heroes, and I'm so grateful for what she does and for what she does for the community. And now I'd just like to ask Alex if he could also introduce himself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Avalon. Mucho gusto. Me llamo Alejandro Avellán. Soy un abogado, I'm an attorney and from Luncheon, from Cooper. And so it's a great honor for me to be here and work with the great team we have at New Jersey Reentry Corporation. Thank you very much.
Alex's family is Cuban, so we have a quota on how many Republicans. No, I'm sticking with the Dominicans. But on a serious note, I'd like to call upon, we're really honored, and we're going to hear from our congressman shortly, and then we're going to hear from our consuls general. But part of what we've tried to do is to deliver the message of Espiritu Latino throughout the entirety of the community. And part of our outreach is we're really blessed to have Harry Geiner as an actor and as a leader and as an advocate talk about what Espiritu Latino does and the outreach in the community. And so here's someone who is far more talented, far more charismatic, and far more handsome. I'd like Harry and his wife to please come forward.
Ok, muy buenos días a todos, ¿cómo están? Good morning, everyone. Bueno, mi parte la voy a decir en español. Mi esposa, que está aquí, Alejandra Gedeon, la va a decir en inglés para no cometer errores. Ok. ¿El congresista se fue? ¿No me va a escuchar? Que vuelva, si no, no me va a escuchar. Bueno, en primer lugar, nosotros. ¿Qué necesitamos? Efectivamente, uno de los grandes problemas que tenemos es la falta de información, que muchos de nuestros latinos inmigrantes vienen y que no saben dónde dirigirse ni a dónde ir. Eso ha sido uno de los grandes problemas desde que yo vivo en los Estados Unidos desde hace más de 15 años. Una de las cosas que hemos tratado con la fundación que tenemos que se llama Minority Art and Media es poder difundir y ayudar a nuestra comunidad, a las minorías, a cómo difundir, escuchen bien, que se les pueda ayudar. En este caso, la iniciativa que nosotros tenemos, que estoy tapando, de Espiritu Latino, es que para que nos podamos integrar todos, necesitamos enfocarnos en un solo camino, y es que llegue el mensaje. Y que llegue el mensaje correctamente, sencillo, fácil para todos nosotros, para que podamos ayudar. En este caso, este tipo de iniciativas, obviamente nos estimula a seguir adelante y poder ayudar. Por parte de nosotros, por parte de nuestra fundación, por parte de lo que tratamos de difundir en materia de ayudar a las minorías, estamos compartiendo este gran proyecto que tienen acá. Pero la única forma de poder hacerlo es, primero, ser unidos. Segundo, transmitir el mensaje. Y tercero, ayudar a alguien. En este caso, doy las gracias a todos ustedes por invitarme, por iniciar esta iniciativa, por participar, y sobre todo, voy a dejar la palabra a mi esposa muy cortita, lo va a hacer más breve. Yo, como soy actor, me gusta más el show business, necesito mostrarme, hablo mucho, pero sobre todo, para todos ustedes, si necesitan de nosotros, las puertas de nuestra fundación, las puertas de nuestro corazón, las puertas de nuestra gente están abiertas para ustedes. Ya termino.
Foundation, the name is Minority Backed Media. Es una fundación que hicimos especialmente para las minoridades, latinos, migrantes, personas con discapacidad. Nosotros tenemos muchas discapacidades, entonces también es una causa que tenemos muy cercana. Y nuestra idea es poder poner estas voces, estos talentos de las minorías en los grandes escenarios, en programas de televisión que sí lleguen a medios masivos. Queremos también verlos en Broadway, queremos verlos en escenarios que valgan la pena, queremos ver su talento. Nosotros tenemos siempre, sabemos que la comunidad latina es muy talentosa, pero todos ustedes conocen seguramente a alguien que canta, baila, actúa espectacular, pero nadie más sabe que ustedes, que ese talento está ahí. Nosotros estamos en la tarea de que esos talentos sí tengan visibilidad, porque sí los hay, ¿sí? Nosotros tenemos más de 300 alumnos y tenemos niños, tenemos adultos, tenemos niños de 4 años y tenemos adultos de 72, o sea, no hay límite de edad. Y realmente vemos talentos, vemos actores, vemos músicos, vemos bailarines, vemos cantantes. Ahora, bueno, también vemos influencers, porque nos vamos obviamente entre muchos de esos. Y vemos que se quedan como en el sueño que tuvieron en sus países de actuar, cantar, bailar y demás, y vemos que ese sueño muere con ellos. Y no tienen un lugar donde expresarse. Y nosotros estamos en la tarea con esta fundación, el Minority Arts Media, de ponerlos en escenarios, ponerlos a modo visible en esta plataforma para que puedan expresarse y que los demás sepamos que esa gente existe, ¿sí? Y no ya estamos cansados de ver lo mismo en televisión, queremos ver otra cosa y queremos ver ese talento que sí está. Así que están todos invitados a ver el website, si quieren, minorityartsmedia.org, y necesitamos manos con todo proyecto y estamos muy invitados.
Gracias. Gracias. Qué bueno, gracias a todos. Ya terminamos.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to both a great couple for their advocacy. And now we're really honored. At the end of this, and then next we'll hear from the good congressman and our council generals and my dear friend. But this is also about clients. So I would just ask Vincenzo, you got to take off your hat. Like, you know, I'm old-fashioned. When you're in church, you take off your hat. So now I want to call this distinguished gentleman forward to talk about how New Jersey Reentry Espiritu Latino assisted his services. Come up here, my friend. Gracias.
Hello, hi, my name is Benicio Adams. I come to say thank you to New Jersey Reentry for the hope that gave to me to get immigration paper. Thank you so much. Mi nombre es Benicio Adams, vengo de Newark, New Jersey, representando a Alex Hernández y darle las gracias a New Jersey Reentry por la ayuda que me dieron para conseguir mis papeles de migración. Gracias.
Well, Alicia, you would make the worst politician. That speech was 30 seconds. It said everything it was supposed to. It was factual. It was truthful. There's no hope for you. Gracias. Before I call up Congressman Menendez, I just wanted to emphasize why this is so important today. That 20.15% of all New Jersey reentry program participants are Hispanic or Latino. 2,732 are referred to addiction treatment and mental health. 2,732. And as you just heard, it's working with status, but it's also grappling with mental health and addiction treatment. Of which 2,563 are employed, 992 we helped to secure a motor vehicles commission ID, a driver's license. 521 we enrolled in training, right in these classrooms right now where you see people participating in training. And I want to thank Joanne from Valley. I'll ask her to talk in a few words. And 615 for housing referrals. So I want you to understand that 1 out of every 5 persons that New Jersey Reentry serves are Latino or Latina. And that's why this is so important. So, if I can, my grandparents were immigrants from Ireland to Jersey City. And I remember them saying when they were on the ship and they saw the Statue of Liberty, what it meant for them. And so I'm very grateful for all of you, but I'm also grateful for Rob Menendez, who not only is a congressman, but is a person. And let me just say this. Congressman Rob Menendez helped us with children's toys years ago for New Jersey Reentry, before he was ever a congressman. So if I can say this, and I've known him since he was a kid, he tells me not to say this. But when he was a young man, I won't say that'll be good. Exactly, the spirit's with me. I was going to tell you stories when he was a young teenager with all his crazy girlfriends, but I won't mention it now. I mentioned it one time in a church basement. He goes, Jim, we were in church. Why didn't you have to bring that up? But let me just say, somebody who's very good, and he has the blessings of a great heart, and he's gifted with a great mind, and he comes from a very good family. Let me call somebody who believes in Espiritu Latino in the community very deeply, our good friend, Congressman Rob Menendez.
Thank you, Governor. It's always a pleasure to be here, and I've had the opportunity to come here on numerous occasions, and I appreciate the work that New Jersey Reentry Corp is doing for our community. I want to thank Reverend Flores for all that he does, his engagement with the community, and making sure that those 20% of individuals who are part of the community get the access to services they need to be as they rejoin us and have productive careers on this side. And I just want to thank Eliana. I mean, you got pop quizzed by the governor on 1,000 different ways for your 2 times 0 salary. I thought it was incredible. It also shows how complicated our system here is in this country. The fact that you need access to great attorneys, and the fact that great attorneys are available on a pro bono basis is such an incredible thing, especially because there are people who, as great as the work of pro bono attorneys here are, there's people on the other side who try to take advantage of people who are very much in need and really prey on people who are trying to do the right thing, trying to navigate this complex system. And so to not only do good work, but to offset the bad actors is an incredibly important thing. And so I get the great honor of representing the 8th Congressional District, which includes parts of Kearny, which includes most of Hudson County, Union City, North Bergen, Jersey City, parts of Newark, the Ironbound, and the North Ward, and then all of Elizabeth. And I've It's been the honor of a lifetime. I grew up in Union City to have the opportunity to represent the place I grew up and represent the place I'm raising my family. And I come with good news and with bad news. The good news is that we work every single day to represent this district as well as we can. My district director, Jeremy's here, but our office has solved over 1,300 cases for families in the district. Most of those are immigration cases. So in addition to what the lawyers are here able to do, they often need a federal partner who can work alongside the different embassies, who can work side along families to make sure that the people who are here, perhaps on an undocumented basis, or also in a mixed status family, have access to our office, which gives them a connection to the federal government. And that's something we take extremely important. In the district that we have the honor of representing, over 40% of the people who live here were born outside the country. Over 54% of the people here are Latinas. And so to do this work is incredibly important, and we work at it every single day. If there's any ways we can partner with you, if you know anyone that lives in the district and needs access to what we do, please reach out to us. It is the best work that we can do right now. We pride ourselves in this work. We want to keep families here. We want to keep families together. The bad side is we have a broken immigration system. A couple of weeks ago, there's only one remaining privately run detention center in New Jersey. It's unfortunately in the district in Elizabeth. The Elizabeth Detention Center run by Core Civic. We've visited the center. We've written letters to the administration asking them to shut it down. There are other ways to keep people here, to track people, alternatives to detention. We believe that ICE should be pursuing those alternatives as opposed to detaining people. We went to visit to see firsthand what the conditions were like, to talk to people who are being held there, because for us it's important to know how our broken system is impacting people's lives. Now, we talk about people that are citizens, people here that are on a visa basis, people that are here on an undocumented basis. These are all people. Right? And for those of you, like Reverend Flores, people who feel some spiritual sense to our neighbor, these are all people. No matter what their status is in this country, we have to treat them in a humane way. We have a broken immigration system that fails to do that. We face a challenging moment in our Western hemisphere where we have failed governments. We have global climate change that has caused an immense amount of havoc on communities, on countries, and we see this surge for people that want to start here or start their American story here. And we have outdated laws where we don't provide pathways for people to come here on a documented basis. We have people who have dedicated so much of their lives here, who remain here on an undocumented basis, and we can all acknowledge the problem. But in Washington, we're not frankly coming up with the solutions that we need to be coming up with. We are trying. We know that this is a broken system. I have the honor of co-chairing the Hispanic Caucus's Immigration Task Force with Adriano Espaillat, a proud Dominican from the Bronx. And we are thinking about this in every possible way. We want to create solutions for you and your families. We want to create solutions for our communities. We want to create solutions for our country. I believe, as someone who's the grandchild of Cuban immigrants, that this country, this area represents the best of what we can be when we have inclusive, welcoming communities, when we bring people in as opposed to push them out. And as I've said time and time again, how we treat the people who are trying to start their stories here is more a reflection of who we are as a country than who they are. If we welcome them in and create pathways to citizenship, we give them a documented status, that says a lot about us. It will make our community better, it will make our economy stronger. If we build a wall, if we deport people, if we tear families apart, that says more about us, who we are as a country, than it says about the people who want to be part of our team here. I will always choose the route of trying to create inclusive communities. I will always choose the route of giving people a fair shot in this country, whether it's your first year here, or whether you've been here for 15 years on an undocumented basis. We want to create the best avenue possible for people to do the best and contribute to our country and give themselves a shot, give their families a shot at a real opportunity. That's what this country has always represented to so many people, whether it's the Irish, like the Marines here in Jersey City, or whether it's Norwegians or Germans or anywhere in this entire globe. People have always seen this country as a place of opportunity. I want people to view us as a beacon of hope and freedom, and we want to come here and give themselves to this country. That is what we should always stand for. When we are at our best, that's what we have stood for. I will always fight on that side. I will always work with entities like New Jersey Reentry Corp, with Espiritu Latino, with all the leaders in this room to make sure that we get to the best possible outcomes. In challenging times like the ones we're in, we're going to do the best that we can. But we will always have the aspirations to do big things, to create long-term solutions. And I know at some point that together we will. Thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you, Congressman. And now it's a great honor to bring upon our Consul Generals. And part of this partnership is that Reverend Flores designed a partnership between the Consul Generals throughout Latin America, Central America, and South America, so that many of our individuals, whether it's a birth certificate, whether it's a high school degree, whether it's a driver's license, we need documentation. I will tell you, it's so difficult to get documentation from other states, whether New York or Florida or Puerto Rico, so it's a strange day when I can get documentation faster from Dominican Republic than I can from Florida. It's just difficult. So that's why this is so important. So I just like to call upon our Consul Generals just to talk about the importance of this relationship with the New Jersey Reentry Corporation so that people are legal, people have documentation. And the first person I would like to call upon, the Consul General of Colombia in the great city of Newark, Maria de Pilar Cruz Silva. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, and it's a great honor. Not only that he came from Colombia, but he drove all the way from Newark.
For everybody, entonces, en español, vamos a hablar en español. Vengo en representación de la Consul General María del Pilar, que el día de hoy me ha delegado para asistir a esta reunión y entregar nuestro mensaje y compromiso de trabajo conjunto, tanto con las autoridades locales, con las autoridades nacionales, como con las diferentes organizaciones que hoy veo que están aquí convocadas y tienen un gran propósito de ayudar a aquellas personas que tienen en este momento mayores dificultades, y podemos hacerlo. El gobernador muy gentilmente ha considerado que los cónsules somos parte de esa triada, ¿sí? Que podemos unirnos para ayudarle a ese bien ingresar a nuestros nacionales, hermanos latinoamericanos. En el caso nuestro, Colombia tiene el propósito y es la política exterior nuestra, trabajar no únicamente para los colombianos, sino trabajar todos unidos, latinoamericanos, para podernos facilitar el ingreso y establecimiento de los países que nos han recibido a nuestros connacionales. En ese propósito hay instrucción directa de facilitar toda la documentación que le requieran. En ese sentido vas a contar con nosotros, Colombia, y estoy seguro que mis otros colegas de los otros países estamos trabajando unidos en eso. Importante, hemos cambiado nuestros protocolos de servicio. Hoy en día, en el Consulado General de Colombia, en Newark, cuya circunscripción nos compete, New Jersey, Pensilvania, estamos atendiendo a todos los connacionales que llegan sin cita, que ese era uno de los problemas mentales que tenían aquí, que para pedir cita era complejo. Hoy en día el que llega se atiende de acuerdo con una capacidad operativa que tenemos, pero estamos atendiendo y ha sido un éxito. Estamos haciendo varios encuestas de servicio y la comunidad está muy satisfecha. Al fin alguien nos escuchó, que eso era una trama. Documentos que parte del gobierno de Colombia es consciente que nosotros mandamos nuestros mensajes a nuestras autoridades centrales, que requieren documentación específica para facilitar el ingreso de sus hijos a los colegios, a facilitar los documentos para poder legalizar, sacar las licencias de conducción y demás. Se ha escuchado. Hoy en día, ¿sí?, los documentos se pueden solicitar y pedir en línea en el caso colombiano. Todos los registros civiles de nacimiento, de matrimonio, de defunción, porque en algunos casos toca legalizar eso también, se pueden pedir en línea. No tienen que ir ni siquiera a la sede consular. Le estamos facilitando, porque tú sabes que la circunscripción, el gobernador lo conoce, Las autoridades nacionales saben que los colombianos y en general nuestra comunidad está repartida en un país, en muchos sitios, que es bastante grande. Entonces la movilidad es difícil. Entonces hemos fortalecido eso. Lo que se puede hacer por autogestión, principio de servicio, y acceder a los sistemas que hemos dispuesto para poder solicitar y que le lleguen los documentos sin tener que desplazarse a ningún lado, es un éxito. Estamos trabajando en eso. Ayer hice unas pruebas y estoy en un proceso de capacitación y formalización y divulgación, porque mucha gente no lo sabía. Hoy vengo del consulado y atendí a un connacional, dice, no, he tenido dificultades en cita. Le dije, el tipo no leyó que no había citas. Venga, después, ¿dónde buscaste eso? Les mostré que en nuestras páginas oficiales estamos atendiendo gente y se anuncia. Lo que detecté es que tenemos que mejorar. Me di cuenta que tenemos una posibilidad de mejora, porque la información no está llegando. Es compleja, es enredada la página. Y ya también transmití eso y dije, mire, el señor tiene razón. Miren lo que pasó, él hizo esto. Y le dije, hagan el ejercicio como si fuera un vecino del ladito. No fue claro. Estamos mejorando. Y todo lo que ustedes puedan ver, que mi comunidad pueda ver, que se pueda mejorar, les pedimos que nos lo dejen conocer. Porque el propósito nuestro es realmente servir y servirlos a todos sin discriminación y facilitándoles que su proceso de ingreso y migración positiva con este país sea realmente el objetivo que quiere mi gobierno, con el gobierno local y con todas las autoridades y ustedes, personas de buena voluntad y de buen corazón. Muchísimas gracias por habernos invitado.
Thank you, Council, and I'm very much grateful that
Mi nombre, me olvidó decirles, yo vengo en representación de la consular, mi nombre es el ministro plenipotenciario Crisanto Torres, que he sido enviado por la Cancillería a reforzar el equipo de trabajo del Consulado de Colombia en Londres. Gracias.
Thank you. And we're going to put everybody's name on our website so you'll be able to see. And the Consul General from the government of El Salvador, Ariel, I'd just like Ariel to please join with us. I'm very much honored. So my mother had a devotion to Bishop Romero. Does everybody know who Bishop Romero is? You're killing me. God. Well, anyway, his picture hung in our house. He was somebody who spoke about the poor, who spoke truth to power. But in any event, somebody who was very meaningful to our family. Aaron?
Claro que sí. Thank you. Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo se encuentran? Congresista, AD, gobernador, Liliana, hemos trabajado. Mucho gusto. Y a todos ustedes, en especial todo el cuerpo diplomático que está acá representando diferentes consulados. Qué bueno estar con ustedes. Como lo dijo el former governor, que mi nombre es Ariel Valle, yo represento al gobierno del presidente Nayib Bukele para los estados de New Jersey y Delaware. Quizás, just gonna make my speech in Spanish. I think everybody should be able to know how to understand Spanish, right? Sí, estamos bien, listo. So, quizás hay muchos temas que a veces se debe hablar y algunas personas quizás van a decir, quizás hablo muy fuerte, pero quisiera decir un punto uno. El Salvador pasó a ser uno de los países con el más alto índice de criminalidad a ser el país más seguro en el hemisferio de América. Ahora, esto viene a decir un punto muy importante sobre inmigración, que es lo que estamos abordando y lo que les voy a decir. En otros años, El Salvador era el número 1 de inmigrantes que llegaban a la frontera sur de Estados Unidos y México. Estos son datos que los puedes encontrar en el Customs Border Patrol o CBP. Ahora, en este momento, menos del 1% de los inmigrantes que están llegando a la frontera sur son salvadoreños. El fenómeno de la inmigración es algo que va a suceder en global, nunca se va a poder detener, pero hay pasos que podemos realizar y trabajar para poder tomar medidas necesarias donde nuestra inmigración no debe de ser forzosa, sino voluntaria, donde nuestra gente quiere inmigrar y buscar un mejor futuro para sus seres queridos. Si no se siente bien, pueda lograrlo de manera segura o regulada. no de manera forzosa o irregular a través de las fronteras. Como inmigrante que llegué hace muchos años atrás a este país, incluso estoy escribiendo un libro que trata muchos temas principales sobre la inmigración. Pero el punto esencial es que hay cosas que sí se pueden lograr hacer para evitarlo. Nuestro país ha logrado cambios significativos, aún no lo hemos logrado todo, pero se ha logrado y se han transformado las circunstancias migratorias. Aquí es cuando vengo y recalco la importancia de tomar parte también en el cuerpo diplomático en temas de migratorios, porque somos los que estamos en el terreno conociendo de primera mano las necesidades de nuestras generaciones, de nuestros inmigrantes. O sea, como salvadoreño, represento a más de 140,000 salvadoreños entre el estado de New Jersey y Delaware. Son más de 100,000 salvadoreños solamente en el estado de New Jersey. Eso es un número muy importante porque representa también un brazo, un músculo para la economía del estado, donde han venido personas a entregarle a trabajar. Siguiente paso acá. Cuando el presidente me delegó tomar la oficina de New Jersey, era un consulado que nadie quería ir, incluso cantidad de personas me decían, yo me hice ciudadano porque yo no quería saber nada de los consulados, no quería volver a ir, no quería saber nada. Eso es una realidad que no se puede ocultar. Cuando llegamos logramos transformar en todo el sistema logístico, operacional, pero también transformamos el trato responsable de dignidad a nuestros connacionales, y eso lo hemos logrado con un nuevo equipo, con un nuevo sistema, con tecnología. Ahora, muchos creen que los consulados solamente prestamos servicios de pasaportes o documentación. No solamente eso, vemos una cantidad de trámites sobre trámites migratorios, trámites humanitarios con nuestros connacionales, donde estamos siempre a la disposición para seguir trabajando con cada uno de ustedes. Así es que cuando ustedes se acercan a nosotros, no solamente podemos la posibilidad de trabajar con la comunidad salvadoreña, muchos me conocen, me he dedicado y he trabajado abiertamente con todas las comunidades de Latinoamérica. Así es que para mí es un honor estar acá. Aquí me están haciendo prisa, pero no hay problema. Gracias por estar acá y por su tiempo y por haber escuchado. Esperamos que la información sea valuable, y también cualquier cosa pues estamos a su disposición en nuestros consulados, o cada una de las autoridades que nos han podido convocar tienen nuestro contacto. Gracias, Dios los bendiga.
So, the most important is who's Archbishop Romero. He's a saint.
El obispo, Monseñor Romero, es una persona que luchó y defendió los derechos en aquel momento del conflicto armado y la guerra en El Salvador. Entonces, a causa de haber alzado su voz, fue asesinado durante el momento que él auspiciaba una misa. Y por causa de ello y todo su trabajo que hizo en la Santa Sede de Roma, se definió que él puede ser canonizado santo, el cual ahora es, y que el Papa Francisco, Juan Pablo III, lo canonizó santo y dijo que era el santo de América. Así es que tenemos un proyecto, creo que, as you remember, I told you last time, we shouldn't have a statue of him in New Jersey. It'll be a big hit. People is gonna like it. People are gonna love it. There's so many people. We have many followers, many U.S. citizens that know about him. A lot of people probably here. It's the first for you to know, but we should be able to get to know more about these people that sacrifice their life for us. Thank you.
Well, I know, just so you know, there's a painting of the Archbishop in New Jersey Reentry. So not a statue, but a painting. And so now, again, Ileana, I listen to all the time. She asked the councils if you could be succinct. I'd like to call upon Enrico Bonelli. Enrico is here on behalf of the consulate of Peru, and he's always been a great supporter. So, we all know Peru and its proximity in terms of South America and the Cape, but I just want to say thank you to Enrique. He's always been a great supporter of New Jersey Reentry.
Thank you very much, Governor. I'm going to speak in Spanish, but just some good Governor for Haiti, for all the people here and all you people that come here in the special event, and the government too. So I'm going to switch into Spanish. Vengo en representación de la Consul General, Patricia Páez Portocarrero, que es nuestra Consul General de Perú, aquí en New Jersey y también en el estado de Pensilvania. Efectivamente, como decía el gobernador, ¿no? La comunidad peruana además siempre ha sido representativa, tiene bastantes años, es muy numerosa. Me parece que somos la tercera luego de la dominicana y colombiana. Probablemente la mexicana también es muy elevada. Estamos entre las 4 primeras realmente. Y claro, para ser un poco sucinto, como nos supió el gobernador, en realidad mis colegas ya han referido a la gran mayoría de nuestras labores, ¿no? Que básicamente son de identificación, de DNI peruano, transportes, trámites varios, notariales, etcétera. Quería solamente centrarme un poco en el tema humanitario, ¿no? Los consulados también tenemos este gran deber, ¿no? De poder observar, tratar de solucionar a la medida de nuestras posibilidades de cada gobierno el tema humanitario y las crisis que se puedan generar. Somos conscientes que en los últimos 2-3 años se ha dado una nueva ola migratoria bastante fuerte de varios países que han estado inmersos en esto, como el Perú, ¿no? Se calcula que alrededor de 150.000 a 200.000 peruanos han pasado a la frontera en los últimos 2 años y medio, que en las puertas de las fronteras han habido alrededor de 100.000 peruanos, y esto genera una serie de dificultades y retos tanto para los cónsules como para las asociaciones, ¿no? De fines de lucro que nos ayudan mucho. No solamente los gobiernos hacen esto, ¿no? Esto es un tema de todos, un tema de coordinación y de gestión, ¿no? El consulado gestiona, organiza, coordina, pero sin la ayuda de organizaciones como las de ustedes, nosotros no podríamos hacer todo lo que deseamos. Esto es muy importante tenerlo en mente y es tarea de todos. Y bueno, voy terminando, porque creo que también voy a dar otras ideas.
And I'd also like to recognize, and we're approaching the closing of our program, but I'd like to recognize also Angel Petaro from the Dominican Council, and also Alan Hubbard. Alan, did you want to say a few words? Very few. Alan, thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you, Governor. I will be very brief. Sí quería hablar con ustedes porque el Consulado de México en New Brunswick es un consulado nuevo. Se inauguró en septiembre del año pasado. Entonces, anteriormente los consulados que cubrían New Jersey estaban en Nueva York y en Filadelfia. Entonces es el primer consulado de México ya establecido en New Jersey de manera permanente. Anteriormente el consulado de Nueva York hacía consulados sobre ruedas y se estaba una semana y se iba. Ya este consulado es permanente y es un consulado con todos los servicios: pasaportes, matrícula consular, credencial para votar, actas de nacimiento, poderes notariales, doble nacionalidad y servicios para referir a servicios legales, de asesoría legal. Entonces, sí quería aprovechar esta oportunidad para decirles, ya es un consulado nuevo, nos pueden seguir en redes, estamos en X, en Facebook y en Instagram. I was just telling everyone, I'm from the Consul of Mexico in New Brunswick, New Jersey, new office. We just inaugurated September last year. Full service office, passports, consular ID cards, birth certificates, powers of attorney. So this office is now permanently in New Jersey to serve the Mexican community in New Jersey. And foreigners who want to visit Mexico, who may need a visa to visit Mexico, can also apply for it. Thank you.
That's a fantastic. And now I'd like to call upon Jose Aguilar, representing the Jamie Lucero Foundation, who has been so important in healthcare, particularly for healthcare for children, whether it's vaccines, whether it's healthcare, it's direct medical interventions, behavioral interventions. I'd like to call upon our dear friend Jose Aguilar.
Buenas tardes a todos, voy a decir también en español. Soy José Aguilar, soy el director de la Fundación Fuerza Migrante, una iniciativa de Jaime Lucero, que es un migrante como todos ustedes, que vino en los 70 desde México y actualmente es un empresario muy exitoso aquí en el área de New Jersey, Nueva York, pero también en Estados Unidos. Y nuestro enfoque en la fundación es educación y salud, acceso a salud y acceso a educación. Nosotros siempre sufrimos que no tenemos los recursos para terminar nuestra universidad, para terminar nuestra preparatoria. Muchos sabemos que muchos de nuestros migrantes latinoamericanos, hermanos nuestros, vienen con muy bajos recursos, con muy baja educación. Nosotros tratamos de proveerles esa educación que termine su secundaria, su preparatoria aquí en Estados Unidos. Para los mexicanos estamos trabajando que terminen su preparatoria en México, aprobada por la Secretaría de Educación Pública. Estamos trabajando y para trabajar con otros países en que se pueda hacer lo mismo con otros connacionales. De hecho, don Jaime está en El Salvador en este momento, trabajando porque nos interesa mucho la diáspora salvadoreña y guatemalteca y hondureña, por supuesto. Trabajamos mucho en ese acceso, pero también en salud. En inglés hay mucha access equity, equidad de acceso, que es lo que nosotros estamos buscando. Los latinos son los que menos seguros de salud tenemos en los Estados Unidos, son los que más necesitan doctores que hablen español, enfermeras que hablen español, que nos monitoreen nuestras enfermedades crónicas. No sé si sepan ustedes esto, pero los latinos son los que más enfermedades crónicas tenemos en los Estados Unidos: diabetes, obesidad, hipertensión. Y la tecnología permite monitorear a los pacientes desde el hogar sin que vayan al hospital. Entonces estamos trabajando en traer esas tecnologías para que todos ustedes tengan acceso y encantados de platicar con ustedes más tarde. Gracias.
When Jose is bringing a check on behalf of the foundation, I let him talk for as long as he wants. But in a special way, the foundation, the Lucero Foundation, on a serious note, does so much good for healthcare for persons. So I just wanted to thank Jose time and time again, because Jose is our linkage to the Lucero Foundation, which provides healthcare, and particularly for children. Every child should have access to healthcare, wherever they are. And now, before I call upon our great friend, I'm going to call upon a dear friend of mine who always does God's work. And she happens to work for Valley Bank. But today we had literally hundreds of pounds of food that we broke up to people in the community, Reentry. But Joanna is a gift. I mean this. She's a gift from God. She's of great service, and she cares about the community, whoever you are, wherever you're from. Financial literacy, access to bank accounts, educating people to the difference between debit and credit, educating people to financial services. And for concluding words, Joanna Lopez. Jo. And she was working today, moving food. That's why she's dressed in jeans.
Thank you, God. Wow, I wasn't expecting to really be up here today, so I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to be here. You know, I'm going to tell you a secret. I was actually an illegal immigrant, you know, at the age of 13, so I understand what it's like, right? That there's a stigma. There's a stigma out there that says illegal immigrants are bad, you know, we're no good. But I'll tell you, I overcame that, and I'm here today. I work for Valley Bank. I'm very proud to work for Valley Bank. But I'm also a proud ambassador for New Jersey Reentry. I'm proud because I'm able to help people, not only with food, the food donations, but I also open bank accounts. So I bring the bank basically to New Jersey Reentry at different locations where we're able to establish bank accounts for clients who may not be able to have a bank account elsewhere. So I'm very proud to be here today, and I don't know, I just feel, wow, I'm at a loss for words now because I feel special. But thank you guys so much. It's so nice to meet all of you, and thank you very much for having me.
So we saw what happened today. We started out with prayer, and we heard from my dear friend Leanna. We heard from all of the individuals, from the Consul Generals to our great standard bearer, our actor, thank you so much, from lawyers, from the banking community, but also importantly, as somebody who does so much work for the community. And as president of the Hudson County Latin American Chamber of Commerce, it's also about employment, jobs. So I want to say thank you to the Consul Generals. I just want to say, with my heart, thank you for making sure that we have access to somebody's driver's license, somebody's high school education. Having that documentation is so important when we interact with the criminal justice system. But Heidi is a force of nature. And so I'd like to present Heidi Castillo, President of the Hudson County Latin American Chamber of Commerce, in recognition of her exceptional commitment, her invaluable support in advancing the employment opportunities for the New Jersey Reentry Espiritu Latino program participants this 20th day of February in the year of our Lord 2024. On behalf of all of those whom we serve, on behalf of the community, I'd like to present this to Heidi.
This was a big surprise this morning. They say you must come. Thank you, Reverend. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Consul from Peru, Salvador, Mexico, Colombia, and Republic Dominican. Good morning, friends, and a lot of our members are here, especially our legal general counsel, pro bono as well too, zero, like Governor said. Alexander Avellan, thank you so much for being our legal advisor as well. Reverend Bolivar Flores, which is our general advisor as well as the chamber. And I want to say thank you for this recognition, but it's not only for myself, but also for the 400 more plus entrepreneurs that are part of this business venture, part of the chamber. I want to say thank you as well, people like Janet Garcia, Charin Araujo, Rosemary Carrillo, Margarita Duran, Joanne, the Reverend say, Joanne is not Latina, but we took her part of us. Also, she's putting work, I don't know, you're gonna be more skinny, putting more energy and getting involved in the chamber. The chamber is an organization that started in Hudson County, and I would have remained there, so I don't want to find the organization, although we are working in collaboration with a lot of the organization. We just received a call actually for the Chamber of Guatemala. They invited us to an activity, and we really value the work that Reentry Corporation is doing. You guys are the bridge for those that are seeking employment after probably very hard and challenging times. So you guys are the bridge to give them second opportunity and looking for employers that want to do the same opportunity. You guys promote equality, value, involvement with the community, multicultural programs. So we share the same values, and for that sake, I think we have a good partner here. Thank you, Governor, for this recognition.
Thank you, Heidi. So, again, when we think about what we heard today is an exceptional story of building a community, of people coming, people wanting to work, people wanting support. And so whether it's healthcare, whether Ileana in terms of legal services, whether Joanna in terms of banking services, whether Heidi in terms of employment services, Espiritu Latino is an opportunity to provide care for the community. And when Harry talks about the message and delivering that message to the greater community, we believe in radical hospitality. Radical hospitality means all are welcome. We serve each and every person. And I just also want to recognize our Director of Community Services, Jada Fulmore in the back. Jada, thank you very much. And so want to say the concluding prayer? Yeah, why not? All right. So I know I'm a sinner, so I will have somebody else say the concluding prayer.
Hi guys, my name is Margarita Duran. If you guys don't know me, I want to pray. Okay, so thank you. Lo digo en español y en inglés. Dios, gracias por este día, por reunirnos todos aquí para hablar de casos de migratorios que podemos mejorar e informarnos más. Le damos gracias a todos que están aquí compartiendo y enseñándonos cómo vamos a ir para adelante como inmigrantes. God, thank you so much for having us here today and being able to share and communicate about immigration laws and changes and helping immigrants here in New Jersey. Amen.
Thank you. So I just want to end. So most Latino events I go to, we eat first and have a presentation afterwards. So just for the record, I didn't design this. Reverend Flores designed this. I was like, you know, in any event, I'm not saying anything. So we're going to eat in the back, but I want to say thank you very much. And we're just going to ask this table if they could go rise first, and then people in the back, and then and please. Gracias. Thank you for having an open heart. Thank you for caring. And all the information presented today, as well as the addresses and the phone numbers, will be on the website by tomorrow, along with what Ileana said, is the form for parents to designate the responsible party for their children, questions of status. Thank you very much. Gracias.
Una pequeña anuncio. Y aquí queremos agradecer muchísimo al cuerpo diplomático que está presente. Sabemos que tiene una agenda bastante ardua durante el día y por ello quisiera que puedan entender que los vamos a invitar a pasar primero, por favor, a servirse el alimento para que continúen con fuerzas trabajando. Por favor, cónsules, pueden pasar esta fila y esta. Sí.
But if everybody can start getting lunch.
No, wait.
Yeah, I know, but that's all right. Everybody, you're hungry. Go. Feed.